All right, so these are the homework solutions for chapter 3.1, and it has this problem. It says when advertising special financing deals, car makers often use rates to describe what their monthly payment will look like. This is because the amount that you need to borrow varies widely based on the car you choose and the down payment you make. In January 2013, Hyundai offers 2.9% financing on the Genesis Coupe, which would result in monthly payments of $22.09 per $1,000 borrowed for 48 months. That's for 4 years. So basically what this is saying is that if you take out a loan with a 2.9% interest rate, that you would have to pay for every $1,000 that you borrow, you would pay $22.09, and that would be for a 4-year loan. So question 1 says for every blank borrowed, the monthly payment will be blank, and that's where you got those numbers from, right from there. Complete the table. So I know that every $1,000 that it went up, I had to increase by $22.09. So to get these numbers, I just added $22.09. I was able to add $22.09 every time because the amount borrowed always increased by 1,000. If it increased by something other than 1,000, you would have to take that into consideration. Question 3, write the rate Hyundai advertised as a fraction. Well, here's your fraction. The money every month per $1,000 borrowed. Now the rest of these, question 4 and 5, it's wanting us to use a dimensional analysis. So I'm going to take, if you borrow $18,000, right, then that means that for every $1,000 you had to pay $22.09. So I'm taking 18,000, multiplying it by 2209, which gives $397,620 per $1,000 borrowed. And when you divide those, that makes you have a payment of $397.62 every month. Next question is a little backwards. So it says, if your monthly payment is $331.35, how much would you have borrowed? Well, because I'm now giving you the monthly payment and not the amount that we're borrowing, we're going to still multiply, but we have to flip our initial rate. Because remember, it doesn't matter which way we write the rate. We just need units to cancel. So I have payment on the top, I have payment on the bottom, which is why it's flipped. And then when you multiply and divide, you get $15,000, what the initial loan was. And question 6, if you agree on a price of $23,900, including taxes and fees, and the dealership offers you a $7,500 trade-in for your old car, that means that they're going to give you $7,500 back. How much would your monthly payment be? Well, the first thing you have to figure out is how much are you going to be borrowing? Well, if you take the $23,900 and subtract the amount you're getting back, that's going to be equivalent to borrowing $16,400. And I know that we're borrowing $16,400, so I'm going to multiply by 2209 because that's the amount you're paying per $1,000. Divide by 1,000, and it gives you a monthly payment of $362.28. All right, so moving on to the next page. This one has the problem. It says a manufacturing company buys a new stamping machine for $28,000. The maker of the machine informs the company's CEO that on average it depreciates in value according to the schedule shown in the table. So think about, what does depreciate mean? Right? Depreciate means that the value is going to be going down. Okay, it's losing value. If the depreciation continues at the same rate, how long will it take for the machine to have no value? So if we wanted to have no value, that means that this column, the value column, we would need to be at what? What amount would mean no value? Well, that's 0. So we know that if in 1 year it goes down $7,000, right, then it would take 4 years to decrease a full 28,000. So where did those numbers come from? Well, first, this column is in months. So 1 year is equivalent to 12 months. So if you take 28,000, subtract it from 21,000, that's where the 7,000 came from. Okay, because so in 1 year, it goes from 28,000 to 21,000. And we know that it started at 28,000. So if we want to turn 28,000 into 0, we have to keep subtracting 7,000 every time. Well, 7 times what gives 28? 7 times 4 is 28. So that's how we figured out it would take 4 years. Do you think that this graph would be a straight line? Question 8. Yes, it will be, because it's always decreasing by the same amount. Every 6 months is decreasing by $3,500. Now, next one says pick an appropriate scale and graph it. So I did months. Each line I calculated 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, 24 months. I'm just taking the numbers right from the table. Now going up on the y-axis, we have to figure out what are we going to count by. Now notice the highest amount we have to get to is $28,000, right? $28,000. So that means that 28,000 has to be somewhere at the top. So if you count, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lines. Well, if you do 28,000 divided by 8, okay, it gives you 350. Well, 350 is kind of an awkward number to count by. So in order to make it easier, I said, well, let's just count by 4,000 instead. Okay. So instead of counting by 3,500, we're counting by 4,000. So 4,000, 8,000. I didn't write 12,000. I'm skipping 16,000. This would be 20,000, 24,000, 28,000, 32,000. You don't have to write every number. It's okay if you skip, but just make sure that you're skipping the boxes as well when you skip. Then it says find the slope. I chose these 2 points, the first 2 points in my table. I chose, it was 28,000, 0, 24,500 is 6 months, okay? Subtract the y's, subtract the x's. It does not matter which 2 points you chose. You can choose any of these points. It does not matter which one. Just make sure you choose the same 2 points and you put them in the same order. So 24,500 went with 6, 28,000 goes with 0. And it does not matter which one comes first. And when you divide, you get a negative number, which makes sense because it's decreasing in value, right? So it makes sense that it's negative of $583.33. So that means that every month, the value is decreasing by $583. And again, you can choose whatever 2 points you want. All right, find the y-intercept and the x-intercept. So y-intercept is 0, 28,000. That's the original value of the car. I found it. It's right here. It's the starting point of the graph. The x-intercept is all the way down here is where it crosses, and it crosses at 48 months. Well, what does it mean? At 48 months, the machine will have 0 remaining value, which makes sense because we found that it takes 4 years to have no value, and 48 months is the same as 4 years. All right, moving on to the prep skills. We have the answers here. For question number 1, it's combining like terms. So 3x and 8x made 11x. I just kept the minus 12. 14y and minus 2y, be careful of that minus, is 12y, and then 6 minus 10 is negative 4. Okay, you got to be careful of those negatives. Then over here, we have to combine our a's. 11a, 7a makes 18a. I have 12b, negative 20b makes negative 8b, and negative 13. All right, so now question number 2 is asking you to find the slope of the line from question number 3. So you have to find 2 points and figure out what is the slope. So I'm going to start here. So this point is at about 11,000. The next point is about 12,000. So 12,000 take away 11,000 is where I got the 1,000 from, divided by 10 because this one's at 0 and this one's at 10, and 10 take away 0 is 10. And when you divide, it means that the value is increasing about $100 every year. Now, it's clearly not exactly 100, but I just estimated. So if you have something a little bit different, as long as it's close to 100, like you might have 102 or 98, that's fine because it's all estimation, but just make sure that it's pretty close to 100. Question 3, what's the y-intercept? Well, that's the starting point. It's the 11,000, that's my initial value. And then for question 4, A, B, and C, you take the value that they gave you here. C is 35. I put 35 in for C and simplify. Make sure you do order of operations first. So for like C, I had to do 1.35 times 675 first and then add 4,200. All right, and that's the end of the homework for 3.1. So if you have any questions, please reach out to me. I will be online on Monday night at 5:30 and Tuesday at 3:30. If you have any questions, just reach out to me. And if you need another time to reach out to me, just let me know and we'll figure something out. All right, bye.